Okay, today we're in section 5.1, adding and subtracting fractions. Alright, so we'll be adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers with common denominators, with uncommon denominators, and we have to find our LCD. We'll be doing all of that today. Alright, so in example 1, we're adding fractions that do have common denominators. Okay, well when we add a fraction that has a common denominator, we need to add the numerators together, but we leave the denominator alone, okay? We don't add the denominator together, so we do not say 9 plus 9 is 18. We simply bring over the 9 into our answer, and then we add the numbers in our numerator. So 2 plus 5 is? 7. Very good. All right, now I want you to do this one on your own the exact same way. Make sure your answer is in simplest form. Guys, so 3 plus 1 is 4, and what do I reduce it to? 1/2. Who got it right? 1/2. Good job. All right, now in example 2, I'm subtracting fractions that have the same denominator. All right, so I'm looking at 7/8 minus 3/8. And again, when I'm adding and subtracting fractions, do I do anything with my denominator? No, I need to make sure that they're the same number, but I'm not subtracting them. I'm just bringing it over into my answer, and 7 minus 3 is? 4. Is that my final answer?
No.
What is it? 1/2. Very good. Now I want you to do these two on your own.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 4/5 minus 2/5? 2/5. 11/12 minus 5/12?
1/2.
Very good. 1/2. Who got them both? All right, awesome. Good job. Now in example 3, now I'm adding, and they don't have a common denominator, so the first thing I need to do is figure out my LCD. I do that by starting with the larger of the two denominators, which is 4. And I start climbing the ladder and listing my multiples. Well, I start with 4. Does 3 go into 4? No. What's my next multiple of 4? 8. Does 3 go into 8?
No.
What's my next multiple? 12. Does 3 go into 12? Okay, so 12 is my LCD. But what sign goes in between my fractions? What operation?
Multiplication.
No.
Addition.
Addition. Whatever's in my original, that's what goes, that I just keep it, okay? So an addition sign goes here. Now how do I know what numbers go in my numerator?
You multiply.
Multiply by whatever you had to multiply the denominator by, right? Okay, so 4 times what is 12? 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. Very good. All right, and then 3 times what is 12? 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Do you see how we got that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now in our answer, it's 17/12. Is that my final answer?
No.
I need to write it as a mixed number. So 12 goes into 17 how many times? 1 with how many left over? 5. Very good. Okay, now I want you to do these two on your own. 3/4 plus 1/12 and 3/5 plus 1/2. Okay, so 3/4 plus 1/12, what's my LCD? 12. Okay, so 9/12 plus 1/12. Did y'all get that?
Yes.
10/12 reduces to? 5/6. Very good. What about 3/5 plus 1/2? It's going to be, very good. It's going to be 10s, 11/10, 1 and 1/10. Who got them both? Anybody get them both? Good job. All right, now in example 4. In example 4, we're subtracting the fractions, and again, we have to find our LCD. So we're subtracting 5/8 minus 7/16. So we need to find our LCD. We start with 16. Does 8 go into 16? Yes, so 16 is my LCD. 8 times what is 16? 2. So 5 times 2 is? 10. And then 7/16 stays the same. What's 10 minus 7? 3/16. All right, now I want you to do these on your own. Okay, so what's my LCD for the second one? What's my LCD? 24. Very good. So my first fraction becomes 21 over 24 minus 16 over 24. So that gives me 5 over 24. What's my LCD for the third one? 30. Okay, now there are other common multiples, but 30 is the lowest one. Make sure you get the lowest one. So what does my first fraction become? 25 over 30. My second fraction? 3 over 30, which is 22 over 30, which is 11 over 15. Who got both of those? All right, good job, guys. Okay, now we're going to switch gears over to 5.2. It's basically the same thing, except now we are working with mixed numbers. Okay, so again, same notes, guys. You should still have plenty of room in your notes. We're just now adding and subtracting fractions that now include mixed numbers. All right, so in example 1, of course, we're going to start off with ones that already have a common denominator. The very first thing that you're looking for here is, are my denominators the same? You cannot do anything until you have the same denominator. Everybody agree? 3 and 3, we're good. We have common denominators. Since we have common denominators, let's go ahead and add our whole numbers. What is 48 plus 41?
89.
It's going to be 89. Okay, so 89 is my whole. Now I need to add my fractions. So I add them together and I get 2/6.
2/3.
Wait, why not 2/6?
Because you don't multiply the denominator.
Because I don't add my denominators. Okay, I gotta leave those denominators alone. Okay, so 2/3, I bring my denominator over and I add my numerators together, and 2/3, 89 and 2/3 is my answer. Okay, so add your whole numbers, then add your fraction. Don't forget, we're leaving our denominators alone and just bringing them over. All right, now I want you to do 1 or 2. Yeah, 2. Okay, do these 2. All right, so 3 and 1/8 plus 2 and 5/8 is 5 and 6/8. Final answer? 5 and 3/4. Very good. All right, what about 7 and 1/5 plus 1 and 2/5?
8 and 3/5.
It's 8 and 3/5. Very good. All right, now in example 2, I am subtracting mixed numbers that do have common denominators. So let me get over here to example 2. All right, so in example 2, I'm subtracting 6 and 7/9 minus 4 and 1/9. 6 and 7/9 minus 4 and 1/9. So again, I just look for, what's the first thing I look for? What's the first thing I look for, guys?
Common denominator.
Do I have common denominators?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so now I can just subtract. What's 6 minus 4? 2. What's 7 minus 1? 6 over 9. Very good. I keep it the same. Final answer? 2 and 2/3. Very good. All right, now I want you to do a couple on your own. All right, so 8 and 5/7 minus 4 and 1/7 is?
4 and 4/7.
4 and 4/7. Very good. 12 and 5/6 minus 9 and 5/6?
3.
3 and 0 over 6? No. Okay, because 5 minus 5 is 0, 0 over 6 cancels out. So don't write a fraction. It's just going to be 3. Okay, who got those right? Anybody get both of those right? All right, good job. Okay, now in the next example, I'm adding mixed numbers and I need to find my LCD. So there's just going to be a couple extra steps here. All right, so I'm adding 4 and 5/6 plus 3 and 3/4. All right, so again, first thing I look for is, are my denominators the same? And they're not. So which one do I start with? Which one do I list multiplies? Go ahead. It's going to be the 6, the larger of the two numbers, okay? So does 4 go into 6? No, so I'm going to climb the ladder. What's the next multiple? 12. Does 4 go into 12? Yes, so that's my LCD. Now I need to figure out what are my new numerators. So again, 6 times what is 12? 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. Very good. 4 times what is 12? 3. So 3 times what is? Very good. All right, so does everybody understand how we got our new fractions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and now that I have common denominators, I'm going to add my numbers together. 4 plus 3 is? 7. 10 plus 9 is? 19 over 12. Uh-oh. What is this? Very good. It's an improper fraction. Now, you don't have to write this, but I want to show you. This is the same thing as 7 plus, what is this as a mixed number? 1 and 7 twelfths. So, 7 plus 1 is 8. Very good. Again, you don't have to show this in your homework, but I want you to see how we ended up with 8. Because 7 plus 1, all right, I can take a 1 out of this improper fraction. All right, so now 7 plus 1 is 8, and I end up with 8 and 7 twelfths. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so now I want you to do one. And you only have to do one on this one. Okay? All right, so we're adding fractions. Make sure you find your LCD. Okay, so what's my LCD? 8. Very good. So 1 and 6/8. Did y'all get that?
Yes.
Okay, because we multiply by 2 plus 4 and 3/8. So I add them together, 5 and 9/8. Okay, so what does that mean? That means,
You gotta reduce and
very
change it to
good,
a proper.
because 9/8 becomes 1 and 1/8. Now, remember, you don't necessarily have to write this part, but I want you to see why we do 5 plus 1 equals what?
6.
Equals 6 and what? 6 and 1/8. Okay, so do you see how that becomes 6 and 1/8? Who got that right? 6 and 1/8. All right, very good. Good job, guys. Okay, now moving on to our last example, in example 4, now we're subtracting mixed numbers. In example 4, we're subtracting mixed numbers. We have 6 and 1/6, minus 3 and 2/3. So first thing we need to do is what? Find our LCD. What's our LCD going to be? 6. Very good. So do I change 6 and 1/6 at all? Nope. Just leave it. And 3 and 2/3 becomes 3 and 4/6. Okay, but now I have a problem because I cannot do 1 minus 4 without ending up in a negative. So I have to borrow. What do I borrow from? Okay, now this is important. This is probably the most difficult part of the lesson. How do I know, how do I know what to do? Well, my denominator tells me. My denominator tells me how many pieces are in the whole. So if there's 6, if the 6 is in the denominator, that means there's 6 pieces in the whole. So if I'm borrowing a whole, that means I'm adding whatever this number is, I add it to my numerator, 1 plus 6. So if my denominator was an 8, what would I add to the 1? An 8. If it was a 10, what would I add to the 1?
10.
A 10. And I cross my 6 out and I make it a 5. Now I want you to rewrite your fraction. So in your notes, you should rewrite 5 and 7/6. Do you see what we did there? We borrowed a whole. The denominator told us how many pieces. So we add that to our existing numerator to make our new numerator. Then, now we can subtract it. All right, we can just subtract it like we did in example 2. So 5 minus 3 is 2. And 3/6. And is that my final answer?
No.
2.5. Okay? Y'all think you can do 1?
Yes.
Or 2? All right, so go ahead and work these 2. All right, so you're going to have to borrow, find your LCD, and then borrow in order to solve. All right, so now, what do you think your common denominator is going to be on the first one? It's going to be 8. If you choose a different number, you have to change both fractions, and that's pointless. So we borrow, and we make it 8/8. How many people did that? 7 and 8/8. That's not as many as I was hoping, okay? minus 5 1/8. Now I can subtract them to find 2 7/8. All right, what about my LCD for the second one? All right, so what's the LCD for the second one? What's the LCD, guys? It's going to be 12. All right, again, I climb the ladder of my multiples until I get to one that both go into. 8 and 2 12s minus 6 and 9 12s. Again, I have to borrow. How do I know how many to add to my numerator? How do I know? My denominator tells me. So I add 12 to 2 because 12 is in my denominator. And cross out my 8 and I make it a 7, right, because I'm borrowing. And then 7 minus 6, 7 and 14 over 12 minus 6 and 9 over 12 equals 1 and 5 over 12. Anybody get that right? 1 and 5 over 12?
No.
5 12ths? If you got it wrong, do you see where you went wrong? Do you have any questions? Okay, forgot to reduce or something. Didn't really have to reduce in that one. All right, if you understand that, this is everything you need to know for 5.1 and 5.2. Very good.